All right, let's move to Timmy Stat Deep Dive. Yeah, Matty missed his cue, but that's fine.
That's right. Rookie.
Normally, Kat steps in and joins me on the deep dive.
Well, I didn't get clued up before
Yeah,
this,
well.
so it's just the conditions I'm working
Matty's
with,
like,
unfortunately.
I just want to go home. Get through.
You should have read the playbook, my friend.
Yeah.
Okay. Jacob Kiraz, talk to me.
Oh, didn't he return with a bang in Supercoach terms? So, first and foremost, a good sign in terms of his body and any injury concerns that he played before that bye. If they had any concerns, they would give him the extra week. So, first game back, mate, 61 points. He had 17 runs, 3 tackle busts, 5 offloads. Averaged 72 points per game last season. He had 38 in base, which is simply elite among CT dubs. He also did it with a few niggling injuries across the season, I believe. On the wing, though, last season, in 13 games, he averaged 77.92 points, 4 tons in that, and a low of 41 points. So, not enormously up, but up about 6 points on his average at centre. Well, it'd actually be more than that because 72 was the season average, so it'd be close to about 10 or 12 more than at centre. Good numbers, mate.
Very good numbers. What is his price? What is he, like 700s or something like that?
Yes, he is, because he started on that. So 702K.
I'll tell you what, my concern always with him is that I don't know when he's going to score a try. And I always rather guys with upside. But, mate, all these other teams are so inconsistent. Today, when you mentioned it to me, I sort of edged away from it. Now, do you just lock in that guy that's going to score 70 every week?
Mate, when he's fit and firing, which is hopefully now, and like the first game indicates that maybe it is, in what already looks an improved Doggies team on last season, he doesn't have to score. Like you say, locks in 60 or 70, whatever it might be. He can do that without a try. When he does score, it can be 100 with a try. Like, I think he's right up there as one of the better buys. Not necessarily this week, obviously, he only had the one game so far this season, but I think he's someone that you want to target.
Yeah, he's a guy that I'm looking at. Probably a Shibasaki I might move on next week. I think he's got a 75 break even. He might lose a little bit of Bicky, but I don't mind the matchup against Cape Ball, to be honest with you. So Shibasaki, I'm probably looking at. He's 520K now. If he drops a little bit, he might go to 4.9, 500, something like that. I think him to Kiraz might be on the cards for me next week, which excites me.
Looks a very good one. The other one that I'm eyeing off a little bit, and I wouldn't mind doing it this week, but I don't think it'll happen with other pressing issues. Val Holmes. Have you looked at Val at all?
I haven't Supercoach-wise, but I watch him every weekend and think, fuck, I wish I had this guy. Has he dropped that much cash?
He's dropped...
He might have fucking made cash.
He's dropped 58K, so he's 726K, break even 50. Mate, he's averaging 71. He scored under 70 once. That was 40 against the Bunnies in round 2.
That's mad.
He's scored 2 tries and had 1 try assist. And he's on this Dragons left edge that he's just humming. So
he's had 1 try assist.
1 try assist.
Wow.
5 try contributions.
I was going to say, he's had a hand in plenty.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. No, definitely a guy. Another one that I'll definitely consider. Does he play Origin this year? Do we assume he does in the form he's in?
I think so, mate.
Surely, right?
Yeah.
Interesting one. Okay, anything else on them, mate?
Nah, we're all good.
Joe Tapine, talk to me, the big dog.
The year of the front row forward, mate, it's just a joke at the moment. So Joey Taps for the Raiders, last 3 rounds, 95.3 average in 56 minutes. So the minutes aren't exactly, not flying, but it's not like he's playing 65, 70 minutes per game. He's just going nuts. Joe Tapine, in his 95.3 average, 2 tries and an assist in those 3 games, which is, obviously inflated. However, he's offloaded 8 times in 3 games, 13 tackle breaks, 15 runs per game. He's just playing unreal. So, mate, in any other year, you'd say, all right, let's just get Joe Tapine, but front row forward, it's just absurd.
Yeah, they're just going too good, aren't they, to even really consider making a move there?
I sit there and a few of these forwards, and I know Couchman's 2RF available, but look at Lindsay, Smith, look at Joe Tapine, and a couple of these blokes where I'd go, any other year, they'd be a must-have, but I'm just and we'll get to my trade shortly, but I'm trying to strengthen my squad and my starting 17 and get rid of any weak links. I'm I don't have them at front row. I'm already playing a front rower on the bench, which is
unheard of.
Yeah, so I have no interest, but if anyone wants to get Joe Tapine and have a fourth gun front row forward and he continues to average 80 plus, well, so be it. Like, I can't knock it.
I'll tell you what, just off that, I was just thinking, I was having a chat today to the one and only Jeff Athletic. We're talking today. It's his first year playing Supercoach. He's got into the show this year and he's playing and whatnot. And he sort of said, he goes, mate, it's so hard this year. And I said to him, bro, this year, front row forward, you haven't had to think about it. All the CTW cheapies have made money. I think this has been one of the easier years so far as a whole.
Yeah, cash is flying.
Cash is flying. Like, there's been injuries, but there's injuries every year.
Exactly.
Normally, cash is fucked and you got 3 guys you don't want on your team. Mate, they're all flying at the moment.
Yeah.
It's going to be a very interesting year at the back end, I think.
And
So
like
it
goes
spots.
back to that, the age-old question in Supercoach of cash fee points when you make that transition. We spoke about on SC Playbook last week of when your trade focus goes from all in on cash to sort of transitioning over to all in on just get the best team you can and focus on those points. And because the cash is flying in, you just sort of go, we're not going to be short of it. I need to get a gun 17.
Yeah, for sure. Kalyn Ponga struggled the last few weeks. Shout out to all of you that captained him this week. I was feeling pretty sad and sorry for my Gutho captaincy. Then KP happened and I felt on top of the world all of a sudden. 50 felt like 3,000. Ponga, big break even this week. Talk to me.
Yeah, brief one and just a reminder of last year because he's one of the most sold players this week. People obviously moving to Pappenhausen, maybe it's a Gutho or a Teddy, whoever. Just reminded last year, like he started round 1 and 2 last season with scores of 50 and 45. He then went 86 in round 3 and sort of, I think there are a few sellers at that point with a high break even. He then went 117, 117, 91. And the Spy made a good point on the Playbook potty earlier. The Knights had the second worst attack in the NRL last year. They were 6 or 8 points clear of having the worst attack in the entire competition, and he still averaged 81 points.
Yeah.
Just worth noting, I'm holding. They've got a soft month. The Sharkies game this week, it's in Newey, but it's tough. After that, it's quite soft. I'm giving him a month then, and if he's still stinking it up, I'll sell. But I haven't even contemplated selling, to be honest.
I'm the same. I can't ignore the pedigree of a guy like KP. So happy if all of you want to sell him. But yeah, I'll be holding on. Warriors cheapies. Talk to me.
Bear with me here because there's a bit going on. But just around the minutes of Leka Halasima and Dimitri Vomunga, so a lot of people looking to move on to like an Egan or a Kant or whoever it might be. Just talking about the minutes since Dylan Walker left, mate. So Walker left after round 3, and this is obviously open minutes up, and Vomunga and Halasima, they've been 2 of the beneficiaries at the time. So in 2 games since then, Vomunga has gone from 15 minutes per game to 35, including 42 minutes on the weekend. Halasima, he's gone from 24 minutes per game to 33 minutes per game, including 36 on the weekend. 36th. James Fisher-Harris.
Spinal.
James Fisher-Harris, worth noting that he was injured early on in that game. So the minutes from the weekend will be a little bit inflated, but probably a better gauge of it is even the week prior when I don't believe there were any injuries. They played their proper minutes. Vomunga was still 28, Halasima 30, still up on earlier in the season. They've both been quite impressive. I mean, Halasima speaks for himself. He's obviously a hold this week. But just sort of tying back into Vomunga owners like yourself, mate, the minutes are getting better. These two are a beast. They bust tackles. They'll jab the odd line break, maybe a try assist or try here or there. They're just starting to build in nicely off the back of Dylan Walker leaving. So worth noting.
Yeah, we'll get to it very soon, our trades, but I want to trade to RF. I want to get Dylan Egan in this week, and I'm actually not going to sell Vomunga. I actually feel okay that if in the next 3 weeks he can just jag one attacking stat, which good fucking light tackling that dude.
Yeah.
I think it'll be okay. He's already at 250k. I think he can get to 300 or 400k over the next few weeks. I don't think it's going to take much.
Halasima reeks of he's just going to be the one that got away.
I wish I had Leka, but yeah.
Because we were scarred from earlier in the season and the minutes and uncertainty over Warriors minutes and all that. But now that he's starting, people are going to go to Egan this week.
Yeah.
Halasima could come out this week, go nuts, and he could be the one that got away very quickly. The risk of going back to the bench and playing limited minutes, that's enough for me to stay off.
Yep.
But we're going to be sitting here a month going, Halasima's just gone up 250k and he's an animal.
Yeah, and I mean, the big fear is he goes back to the bench, which I think he probably will. But, mate,
Not the end of the world.
Yeah, but like once he gets an opportunity to show what he can do, I don't know if I'd be betting on him going back to the bench.
Yeah.
So just to back up Tim's points with Vay Malga, rounds 1 to 3, 13 minutes, 17 minutes, 18 minutes since Walker left, 29 and 41. That's unreal. Big jumps there. So
outstanding.
Very, very positive. Now our last point, the Roosters bye period. Do we want to tie this into our talking point?
Yeah.
All right. So we had a talking point. Maddie, you had a question for us, which we're going to tie into Roosters. Take it away, mate.
Yeah, so I think it was last week when I was doing my trades, and I realised I hadn't once this whole year thought about buys, except for obviously if a certain team had a buy that week, as in like the buy period. So yeah, my question I guess is, when is it that you start thinking about the major buy periods?
You lead us here. Talk to me.
Yeah, so Matty asked it for SC Playbook, and I was like, my initial thought was, the next week or two I'll really start to look into it. Then I'm like, you're a Supercoach nerd. You've been looking at this for since before round one.
Yeah.
My answer to it is that I've started looking into it a bit more seriously the last 2 to 3 weeks, even though it was almost going on subconsciously that I was just looking at stuff and it just sort of happened. I will really start deep diving into it in the next 1 to 2 weeks, which will have a big impact on trades. But to use an example, Angus Crichton was a bloke I was really keen on. Then before I bring in any players, I make sure I deep dive on each of those players. And I looked at Crichton and I go, he's going to play Origin. What's that look like for him? Rather than looking generally at the Roosters, I'm like, Crichton brought my attention. Roosters Origin players, so Connor Watson, Angus Crichton, obviously like Lindsay Collins too if he's back, etc. But they're the main Supercoach ones.
Siwa Wong.
Oh my goodness. They will miss a minimum of 6 of 9 games from round 10 through to 18.
Is that mean assuming they get rested after Origin and stuff? Or
That is a minimum 6 of 9 games if they back up from Origin. So, to use it as an example, the Roosters have the bye in round 10. They'll play round 11 against the Bulldogs of all teams, the best defence in the NRL arguably. They'll have Origin in round 12. Round 13 on the backup. If they back up, they have a bye in round 14.
I'm with you.
They'll miss round 15 due to Origin. They'll play round 16 if they back up. Round 17, they have the bye. Round 18, they'll be on Origin. They'll be back round 19 if they back up from Origin. 6 of 9 minimum.
And it's funny, on the flip side of that, this is why I brought Teddy last week, because I want to have him for those 3 major bye rounds as my captain.
What, New South Wales Origin fullback?
Well, I'm now getting nervous. I'm now getting very, very nervous. I'm not stoked about it all of a sudden.
The good thing about
don't rock the boat, Laurie Daly.
If Teddy does get picked for Origin, Pappenhausen will only be about 1.2 million by that time, so easy upgrade.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't. Yeah, especially after Laurie Daly picked Dylan Walker at hooker, he could do anything. Really, so it's got me nervous.
Paps is the Origin fullback. I know it's a separate conversation.
You reckon Paps?
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
That's my favourite.
Jeez.
Fuck, definitely is a stretch.
Okay, maybe not definitely, but that's my pick.
You think it'll be Pappenhausen?
Yeah.
Well, that's rattled me. That's sort of worked in reverse, hasn't it?
I'd love that. I'm heaps on board with that.
In that case, I can...
What, you reckon Edwards just doesn't make the side?
Okay, Edwards has got to continue being not 100%. Obviously, if Edwards is anywhere close to being fine, he's straight up. But if he's in any doubt, I'm looking forward, not backwards.
Fuck, you'd pick Jai Gray if he was from New South Wales. Actually, wouldn't be a bad pick.
He'd do all right.
He'd kill it. Fuck, I know if he put on a Queensland jersey, he'd carve us.
Well, I'm rattled.
Yeah, thank you, Matty. It's been good to have you.
Anyway, going back to the initial question, these are the things that I've been looking at in recent weeks of these players, and tinker with the idea of maybe a Ruben Garrick sell last week, output down a little bit, high break even, high price, etc. Cash in. Looked ahead, Manly played the 3 major bye weeks. I'm like, Ruben Garrick's an elite CT dub. He will be a must-have for the Origin period. So I'm like, okay, not a chance I'm doing it. So I have cast an eye to it. I will, in the next week to 2 weeks max, and we've got an article coming out on the SC Playbook website on Friday, which is a deep dive into the Origin bye period. And yes.
Yes.
Some of your best, mate.
Thank you.
Anyway, but yes, I've cast an eye to it, but the deep diving into it will start in the next week to 2 weeks. What about yourself?
So like my moves last week, Teddy, I'm eyeing off for those major buy rounds to bring him in, hoping he doesn't play Origin. The other one, mate, when I brought in Eli Katoa, I sort of thought, everyone's got Eli Katoa now. Like, he's not as highly owned as I thought he would be.
Isn't he?
I think it was like 20% or something. Like, I don't know, that's not a little, but I thought he'd be a little bit higher owned. Please fact check that. I could be completely wrong.
Any chance of doing homework coming into the show?
But I was pretty sure when I looked at him the other day, he wasn't as highly owned as I thought he would be. And granted, he's got the buy in round 12 and 15, but I think those other buy rounds around that, he's not getting a guy that's going to be rested during Origin.
He's currently among the top 10% ranked overall, 42% ownership. But that would also be people getting him in this week. So
yeah, I reckon that's gone up a bit this week. But still, he's one that I looked at and I was like, okay, yes, he doesn't play in those two major buy rounds, but those other weeks where there's got to be a lot of Origin players out, Eli Katoa's a guy that I want to have that I know is going to get. I mean, mate, he did sweet fuck all. I know. Didn't get any attacking stats. He had a few offloads, granted, but he's going to do that every week. And he's still got 70 odd. Like, his lowest score is 77.
You got him last week, yeah?
I got him last week, yeah.
You're welcome.
I was playing him in drafts, so I was trying to jinx him. I actually was playing Teddy and Katoa, so I tried to jinx both of them.
Yeah.
Didn't work, still
There's
lost.
no success.
But yeah, Eli Katoa's a guy that I've brought in. Outside of that, I haven't done a heap of buy planning. I do think it is one thing that we learned last year, Timbo, that you need to buy plan, but not as much as previous years.
Be aware of buy planning. That was my big note from last year, mate, that I read into it. But buy planning is still important. The lesson I took from last year was not to carry plotters through the buy period.
Yeah.
Morgan Smithies at the time, well, still, Kai Pearce-Paul, etc., who just did nothing for me. So I still want numbers for those weeks, but I want them either to be genuine cheapies who are making me cash or they're guns that I'm bringing in. So still important to have numbers, but I'm not carrying people for the sake of carrying people for a number.
Did that help, Matty?
Yes.
There you go. Maybe you should listen and you'd be top 6K with us too.
Fuck you. Okay.